Today we're evaluating Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama.
Don't forget, like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything that we're kicking out for this 2020 rookie class.
He's 6'1", 218 pounds, and in his 3-year college career at Alabama, he threw 474 out of 684 passes for 7,442 yards and 87 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. That's a 69.3% completion percentage and a 199.4 QBR. For athletic ability, we gave him a 7.5 out of 10. Prior to the hip injury, even with the ankle injury he had throughout 2019, he was really good on the run. He was able to evade defenders if the pocket was collapsing, get out, make plays on the run, move the chains with his feet, and that really goes back to a solid athletic profile. He's a physical kid. He's obviously strong. As we get into the toughness and talk about fighting through some of those injuries, that adds up to a really solid athletic profile. For toughness, we gave him a 7.1 out of 10. When we think about toughness, this is definitely a guy that will rank high in the quarterback ratings this year for this category. He's played through ankle injuries. I mean, think about the LSU game this year. He was facing a very NFL caliber defense. A lot of really good draftable NFL talent on that LSU defense, and he was getting clobbered. I mean, think about Chase on and Delpit, some of these guys that are going to be drafted this year, Patrick Queen. They just kept coming after him and kept hitting him and kept knocking him down, and he kept getting back up, and he was tough as nails in that game. Think about this hip injury. Coming back from this hip injury, some folks weren't sure he was going to be able to, but at this point he's on track and is as good doctors' reports as we can expect from this. That's toughness. Tua is a very tough individual. For pocket presence, we gave him a 7.7 out of 10. That's a really high score. That's actually the highest rating that we gave him. The interesting thing about him is that when he has a clean pocket, he can make any throw on the field. In a lot of games this year when you saw him with a clean pocket, and this was the year where it seemed like he had to face the most adversity. The ankle injury and obviously ultimately the hip injury that took him out. When he had a clean pocket this year, he was able to read the defense, dissect the defense, and really make any throw you were asking, whether it was deep, short, intermediary. We really like his pocket presence. He senses pressure well. He's able to make the progressions that he needs to, climb the pocket properly, deliver the ball on time with the right touch. I mean, everything you want to see out of a quarterback getting ready to go in the NFL, you saw from Tua this year. And since he came in that first game, even that first game, think about the national championship game when he stepped in, partway through the biggest game of the year, and he played with a moxie, kind of a swag that really has carried throughout his college career and will into the NFL. For arm, we gave him a 7.5 out of 10. The team is really split with this rating specifically about Tua. When we were going through the evaluation notes, we were putting this episode together. Some guys really liked Tua's arm, and some guys really didn't like it at all. Some have big concerns about it. Now, think about with the pocket presence. When he had the time, and you saw it in plenty of games, he was able to make all the throws you need. That shows, and even when he didn't, even when he was under duress, he still was able to do very well getting the ball where it needed to go. I personally think he has more than an NFL caliber arm and will be just fine at the next level. We need to see what happens with some of these other injuries, and it's mostly all lower body with Tua, not the arm. For accuracy, we gave him a 7.6 out of 10. The biggest concern that we saw from guys in this is when he was out of the pocket on the run. There's plenty of times, especially, I keep referencing the LSU game this year. This was one of the toughest games he's had to play in his college career. And when you look at him, when he's on the run, when he's under duress, you saw plenty of balls hitting the dirt or sailing over receivers. And as I went back through and not only myself, but the different evaluators on the team, when he got on the run, his accuracy was definitely shaky. He was still pretty good in the short to intermediary kind of within the first 10 yards or so. But after that, that's when things got real shaky for him. When he has a fairly clean pocket or a clean enough pocket where he has time to set up and make his reads, he's on the money. He's got good touch. He's got good awareness. He knows when to take some off or when to go harder with the throw. He keeps his eyes downfield and is able to look off, safeties and backers and do some of the things you would expect him, expect an NFL, probably a top 10, 5 to 10 NFL quarterback to do. And ultimately, even at a 7.6, I mean, it sounds like it's worse than it really is. He's going to be good at the NFL level, barring any setbacks with this hip injury. Overall, we gave Tua a 7.5 out of 10. He is arguably 1-2 in most Superflex drafts. If you've been looking at RotoHeat.com's ADP in Superflex, Tua is still going right there with Joe Burrow. Prior to the injury this year, you heard all the chatter was tank for Tua. Obviously everybody knew that this kid was special. The injury, he's been bouncing back from it and is as good as anybody could expect him to. He's still going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class and one of those guys you can build your fantasy roster around for years to come. He has that quality, that leadership quality to rally a team behind him. And we saw it plenty of times as he's come back from being down. And, even in that first national championship game against Georgia, he rallied the team around him. That's the biggest stage for a freshman to just come in and take over the game. And he did it. He played well his entire college career. Even when he had trouble, even when he was fighting through adversity and dealing with ankle injuries and things like that, he's been nothing but a professional, high character type guy. He does everything you need him to do on the field, off the field. For your fantasy roster, it makes no difference. He is one of those guys that you can build your fantasy roster around. The only thing that can really hurt him is any reoccurring things from this hip injury. But right now, if you're drafting and even in the weeks and months to come, your Superflex drafts, he's probably 1-2, 1-3 at the latest. In your 1 QB drafts, obviously, that puts him second round somewhere like that. He's a great asset for you to have on your fantasy roster. Make sure you let us know who you want us to talk about next and lock it into rotoheat.com/ADP for all of your rookie and startup ADP.
Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to. Do it.